Alright guys, Scrappy again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The drama continues with Black Ops 7 on the horizon. Lots of discussion around the specialists and other features that are going to arrive into the new game and how that is going to play from a competitive Call of Duty perspective. A number of the former players are saying, look, all this discussion about, oh, this is cheese, that is cheese, what needs to say, what needs to go. Stop being so lazy. Ake says plummet era, and maybe we can force the CDL in some respects to make sure the players do indeed play with some of these items in the game and that gentlemen's agreements do not continue to be as rampant as they have been over the last few years. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Thought this was pretty cool to see yesterday the hole-in-one challenge. The boss, among others, were there along for the ride. Now, a couple of things on Black Ops 7 before we get into some of the drama really. Call of Duty themselves confirm, well, I mean, they've done it again, haven't they? They are talking about Ricochet and anti-cheat. So they do love talking about this. I think what is good for COD is that Battlefield is a thing, Battlefield's back. It's some competition, right? And yeah, people always talk about COD versus Battlefield, and, you know, I've obviously been a COD man, right, rather than a Battlefield, but I see the appeal of both games. Obviously cater to slightly different audiences, but the reality is they both compete to some degree for the same market, and it's good that Battlefield exists because it will force Call of Duty to make sure their product is better. At least you would think that way. So they talk about it and say, you know, some of you have said we've drifted from what made Call of Duty unique in the first place, immersive, intense, visceral. They love that word. That's their favourite word. And in many ways, grounded. That feedback hits home and we take it seriously. Which, okay, sure. Do I want COD to be that grounded? You know, I'm kind of down for boots off the ground, you know, take me back to BO3, but whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? The games that are too visceral are just boring, right? Like, we don't need to be Battlefield. I think that's actually kind of the point, is that Battlefield is that kind of like raw, visceral, war-like experience, and COD's been the arcade shooter. Having that polarity is actually good for both scenes, in my opinion. Whatever. They do talk about a couple of things. Operator skins will no longer carry forward to BO7, which is interesting, but they will work in Warzone. And Ricochet, they've updated it, so we're going to stop cheaters earlier. Yes. Do we believe them? Doug says, keep it real where things are at. We love the community in the game. We'll respect you for being more transparent with bad news and taking proper steps to ensure competitive integrity and a fun experience. So we're here in the off-season. That means Doug is going to be fighting some cheaters. This is what he does in these couple of months. Now, we also got a look yesterday at the new maps. Well, the old maps, but the new maps that are coming back. So this is Raids. And, oh, it looks stunning, does it not? So they've gone for this Japanese theme. We thought that we were going to get this maybe on all the remasters, but this is a new angle of Raid we haven't seen yet, of course, at the ringside where the Lambo is, and you've got top art and bottom art. It's, yeah, it looks absolutely spectacular. Now, this is what Hijacked is going to look like. Now, Hijacked, it pretty much just looks the same as it did before. They have gone for this, you know, there is clearly a Japanese theme here as well, as we can tell, right, for the Express map as well, but this is all we've got, right? So it's just a 4-second clip. This is the whole of Hijacked, and is Hijacked going to get played? It was played briefly in Hardpoint back in the day. I think it's pretty unlikely that that stays the same way. What's that final frame? Okay, yeah, we've seen this final frame before on Raid as well. So, yeah, Hijacked is coming back. It looks pretty much the same as it used to. Hijacked, could it be played for Hardpoint again? The issue with Hijacked is that one of the Hardpoints was downstairs. It was underground, and there were 2 entrances, and Parasite would stand there with a Remington shotgun. And it's so funny, honestly, it's kind of relevant for today's topic, because back in the day, they would literally have riot shields and shotguns in competitive Hardpoint downstairs on Hijacked, and there was just nothing the other team could do. You'd be throwing EMPs to try and destroy the systems, and, you know, using grenades and stuff to try and make it work. But, like, the Remington shotgun riot shield was just, like, so outrageous. But we used to play with that in competitive, especially for a hardpoint like that, which is unbreakable. And yeah, the players knew that it was cheese, but they also knew that that's the way the game was played at the time. So could Hijack come back? They'd probably have to do something about that. I'm not necessarily talking about it being reasonable to use a Remington and a riot shield. I think it's okay to not have shotguns in competitive and to not have riot shields, in my personal humble opinion, but maybe we just need to get rid of that hill, right? Maybe that hill just needs to go in general. So let's fast forward to the present day. This obviously is present day, but it's still a game that's a decade old now in Black Ops 3, and, well, this is pretty funny. So Drazah pops a nice little two-piece. He goes to try and get on the A-bomb site, and he gets killed by a Guardian. If he goes over the Guardian from BO2 and BO3, and it's just funny, right? Armand got the kill streak, and he put the Guardian down, and this was perfectly allowed. Kismet probably needed to hop on top here. He needed to probably jump on one of those little like marble head glitches or whatever, so he could have a chance of jumping on top and like over the Guardian wave. But yeah, or he could have just tried to shoot the thing, I guess. I don't know, it would take a long time to kill. Anyway, he dies to the Guardian, gets shot in the back, and it's all rather funny. But this is how things used to be, right? Back in Black Ops 3, if you got a Guardian kill streak, you would just use it. You'd put it down on the site, and that was perfectly fine. Back in Black Ops 2, you could get a stealth chopper and call it in. You could get a swarm if you wanted to and call it in as well. You know, these things were allowed, and it's like, well, if that happens, unlucky, right? Like, you've just got to deal with it. So a number of the players, certainly former players, the likes of Octane, right? He's been watching competitive COD now for the last couple of years, having been retired, and is watching these guys play what has become a rather stale game. We spawn in, we go to the first hill, we throw a grenade, and that's about it. And halfway through the game, one team might be leading. What intrigue really is there, right? It's not like, oh, this guy's got a kill streak or he's on streaks. And yeah, streaks do exist and they can make things interesting, but it's not like there are many streaks nowadays. You get a Hellstorm missile. That's just about it. It's not how it used to be back in the day. There's no specialists to keep things interesting. It's not like, wow, this guy's got the Tempest online. Here we go. He's about to try and break this hill. It's something that needs addressing, and Black Ops 7 is attempting to address it, bringing specialists back, having other things in the game as well. So Octane and Parasite are saying, look, we need to make absolutely sure that we stop the pros from banning this stuff.
We need specialists, bro. I'm tired of watching bland competitive Call of Duty. I'm gonna be honest. The game has evolved and been around so long to a point where we need something else. I can't watch two guns and the only thought process of players is just spawns. Like, I need something else. I don't care what it is, whether it's different guns, whether it's revisiting the map pool like more frequently to mix things up, specialists, gun usage, GAs, snipers, smokes, tacs. I don't care, bro. I need more in COD. The way that the game is being played right now is so bare bones that it's like actually just boring. Like, I enjoy it because I played competitive Call of Duty and I can get into the game like mentally. But like, bro, I can't imagine somebody that's like just sitting at home like watching a protocol hardpoint like with the Ames in the fucking Jackal for 7 months. Like, that's just so ass. Every game plays the exact same all of the time,
making the game as competitive as possible.
Bro,
and it's not about that anymore.
Wasn't there like a rumor that specialists were supposed to be in this COD, and then people were having a discussion whether they were going to be G8 or some bullshit like that? Like, I swear to God, there was a discussion like that on stream with some of the pros.
People were joking. People were just ripping.
Okay, but I was going to say, but bro, the thing that pisses me off about COD nowadays and the way pros like GA things is that any sort of thing that creates depth just because, oh, it can bail you out of a situation or shift the tide of a game is called cheesy. Because if it's not people gunning you out of a setup or out rotating you or doing something that doesn't involve just simply going to places early or shooting people and gunning them out of position, they view it as cheesy. If people throw a smoke and blindside a lane and cross on it and flank you and get behind you and break the spawns that way, cheesy. If people were to pop a fucking specialist that they earned, that doesn't happen every single game, that you know is coming and is counterable, people view that as cheesy if they use that to break the fucking setup. People view everything that isn't just shooting their weapon, throwing a nade and a stun as fucking cheesy. Sniping, cheesy. Stun, nade, something like smokes, like, bro, at some point I guarantee stuns or nades will eventually be fucking looked at the rate this shit's going. And if people aren't looking, do people just look at the game from such a black and white perspective, and it's honestly tiring. It ruins the game. There's no depth, bro.
The pros.
Yeah, the pros.
Because they're fucking lazy,
Yeah.
Chris. They get gunned by something in a scrim and it's instantly get this the fuck out of there, even though it's their fourth scrim.
Bro,
on a new fucking title. They just don't want to try.
I get some things are egregious and maybe say annoying, but if it's not literally taking over the game meta where every single player in the game is forced to run one thing for every single map in the game, it should be allowed. If somebody wants to fucking run a fucking marksman rifle that might be fucking really good on one map but fucking dog shit on another one, who the fuck cares? It's not like there's ways to counter this stuff, but people are lazy and don't want to find ways to use their brain, and they just want to take the same gunfight over and over and over again every single time. Yes, there are things that ride that line, but pros typically will just GA anything that is out of the ordinary.
Fascinating how things have gone over the last few years. As I say, a decade ago, gentlemen's agreements were only just starting to really exist. Back in Black Ops 2, like EMPs were really strong. They were very powerful. But if the other team used EMPs, you would throw on hardwired as a perk to counter it. And then they, knowing that you were countering their EMPs, would then probably switch to stuns. Then you would switch to a flak jacket class, or like tac mask, sorry. And, that was the way that the game would work. I wonder what these pros would be like if they had to play the games. Back in Black Ops 4, Black Ops 3 with some of the specialists and Banner Predict or something, they would just say, oh wow, this is cheese. And I think Parasite's take on it is very fair. I also wonder, let's say these players, the modern COD players that we have, had instead been very talented at Valorant or, Overwatch or some sort of like hero shooter, right? Like, if you watch those games, and I'm sure these guys do watch those games occasionally, there is an unbelievable amount of what you would call cheese in those games, right? Every character has like 4 abilities, and they have like an ultimate ability, which is just like on occasion, a get out of jail free card. But that's the way the game is. And yeah, some of those things are powerful, but both teams have access to them, or I can use a different agent to try and counter yours. In COD, if you're using a certain specialist, for example, if the other guy is using Heatwave in Black Ops 3, I might use Glitch, because if he Heatwaves me, I can glitch back, and I'm good, right? So that's, you can get these kind of counters. Let's say someone's using active camo on their team, then, I might want to throw an EMP grenade or something, right? There's these counters in play, and I think Parasite's right that on many occasions, these things aren't so strong that everyone is going to use them, right? And also, you're only allowed one. Like, okay, active camo might be a very strong specialist or field upgrade, whatever it's going to be in the upcoming game, but it's not like every man on the team can use it. And even if the snipers were that strong that they're uncounterable, I guarantee you, no one's pulling out 4 snipers, right? Like, people don't know that back in 2018 in World War II, we were playing USS Texas, and Red Reserve would have 0 with a sniper on the left flank, and Scraps with a sniper on the right flank. That was the strat. And yeah, you could throw a smoke to counter it, but back then, that's just how it was. If you wanted to counter the sniper, you would either dive across and try and get away with it, or shock horror, pull out your own sniper, and you go to the head glitch first and win the gunfight, right? Like, it ain't rocket science. Some talk here from Matt Sconce from Treyarch about potentially the grapple hook coming into multiplayer. We know that it's going to be a thing in campaign. It was, of course, a thing back in Black Ops 4. Ruin's ability was he could use the grapple hook, and that was kind of why BO4 felt like a bit of a pseudo jetpack game. It wasn't jetpacks, but things like the grapple hook meant that you could do some jetpack kind of things, and we would be seeing some spectacular plays if the grapple hook comes back into the new game. So very much interested in your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Is it the plummet era because the pros are also soft? And also, can the CDL just force us to do this, right? Like last year, the CDL took the power out of the pros' hands when it comes to map selection. They said, we are going to make the map changes. We don't care what you think, which, to be honest, is probably the right thing to do, and it's how it worked in other games as well. The players, you're paid to play the game. Here's the game, you play it, right? Like, you make it work. Now, not to say that we want the game to be played out of the box. I'm not in favour of Remingtons and Riot Shields. I'm not in favour of UAVs. I'm not in favour of shock charges, claymores, whatever, right? Like, I'm okay with having those out of the game. And I admit that somewhere, therefore, with my opinion on that, there is a line to be drawn, right? Do I want to have the competitive COD be, oh, I've called in a UAV, but you've used Ghost to counter it, or you've brought out your rocket launcher and shot it out of the sky? Like, no, I think that is cheese. So it's understood, there is a grey area, right, between what is cheese and what is not cheese, but I think the pros are generally correct, or certainly Octane and Parasite in their opinion, that we should be doing more to encourage variety in the game, especially when that variety exists with specialists coming back in. So I'm hoping that the COD League do something about this and definitely take a bit of a stand on it, and I expect them to for the upcoming season. So very much on Twitter your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.